This hearing was called for a purpose: to intimidate a district attorney for doing his job.
Soft on crime policies are going to ruin this great city, and that's why we're here.
Like jackbooted thugs, they've descended on New York City using violent crime as their pretext.
I want to thank all the witnesses, including the victims of crime. I fear that you are being used for a political purpose despite your sincerity.
The people that are sitting here right now, they don't want to hear that. The only thing you want is safety.
Well, it was a fiery hearing today, a field hearing by the House Judiciary Committee talking about crime in New York City, specifically aimed at the district attorney there, the Manhattan attorney Alvin Bragg, and they put out a statement to Manhattan District Attorney's Office. DA Bragg is reducing crime in Manhattan, reversing a tough spike that began before he even took office. For outside politicians to now appear in New York City on the taxpayer dime for a political stunt is a slap in the face to the dedicated NYPD officers, prosecutors, and other public servants who work tirelessly every day with facts and data to keep our home safe. Well, here's some facts and data. Here's first the total felony offenses in New York City. You can see them from 2019 to 2022 and the increase there. Here are the felony cases downgraded to misdemeanor. This is by the Manhattan DA's office. From 2019, 39% to 2022, 52% downgraded to misdemeanor. And here are the felony cases declined to prosecute by the DA's office, 2019 to 2022. Those are some facts and data from New York City and Manhattan. Let's bring in our panel. Former Education Secretary Bill Bennett, Leslie Marshall, Democratic strategist, and former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer. Bill, what do you make of this field hearing and the results from it?
Well, you can't take politics out of politics. There's always politics in these hearings. I've been to 100 Senate and House hearings, and politics is there. The question is, what was the point? And the point was to dramatize what's going on in New York. And I think the most important statistic, Brett, is the one you just put up. Downgrading felonies to misdemeanors. It probably should be going the other way. Probably should be upgrading misdemeanors to felonies. People are scared to death in New York City. Are there cities with higher crime rates? Sure. You could spend all your time in New Orleans, I suppose, if you wanted the number one. But look, to highlight this at the same time that they are upgrading Donald Trump's supposed offense to a felony without telling us what it is really an outrage. But I'm a New Yorker. People in New York are scared to death to walk the streets, even what they thought were very safe streets.
And Leslie, there's no sugarcoating it. The chairman, Jim Jordan, says it's because of the former president and the charges that he's been facing that they essentially did this hearing to focus on crime and focus on that. They did, however, have some substantive testimony from victims. The mother who lost a veteran's son in 2018 after he was stabbed in Harlem. Take a listen.
There are hundreds and thousands of us. We don't give a damn about your politics. We don't care. It could be the man from the moon who's running for president, okay? As long as whoever's in there, it stands for law and order and is going to return some civility and sanity to our city.
There's just a lot of frustration. It's not just New York City. It's out west, like where you are, Leslie, and there is frustration, and it's both sides of the aisle.
It's frustrating when anybody is the victim of a crime, and certainly when we hear parents talk about children that they've buried. But when we look at murders, I mean, you just have to look at numbers. In Columbus, 139 last year, and last year was the first year that the district attorney was DA in Manhattan, and Manhattan had 78. You're talking about 1.6 million people in Manhattan, and you're talking about 900,000 approximately in Columbus. And the reason I point this out is I would agree with Bill that this is politics. I mean, this is a political stunt. This is theater. And what is really sad is it's a New York City tourist opportunity at the expense of a taxpayer using the pretext of crime. Crime is a real issue, but we need our legislators to be in Washington representing their constituents in their districts. And the fact that this is being done clearly in blind loyalty to the former president, almost like they're doing his bidding, is frightening. This just reeks of weaponization of the federal government. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. That's a very dangerous message to be sending to taxpayer, regardless of our politics or ideology.
Bill, I'll get back to you in a second. I want to bring Ari in here. Ari, in the wake of this, I mean, we are watching somewhat of a crime crisis across the country, as I mentioned. And in Chicago, you had this big event with this group of teens, caused all kinds of problems down in the Loop there. The Chicago mayor-elect, Brandon Johnson, issued this statement over the weekend on mob violence, and he said, "In no way do I condone the destructive activity we saw in the Loop and Lakefront this weekend. It's unacceptable, has no place in our city. However, it is not constructive to demonize youth who have otherwise been starved of opportunities in their own communities." And so, you know, that's the message he's sending, and obviously it's a similar message we heard from Lori Lightfoot, his predecessor.
Yeah, Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, said that you can't call this mayhem. Well, it's the definition of mayhem. It is exactly what mayhem looks like. And if you want to have more of it, go easy on these kids. Talk about how they've been deprived of opportunity. And you know what? They'll take the opportunity to engage in more mayhem. If you're going to stop it, you need to be strong. You need to send the signal to people that you cannot behave like this. If you behave like this, you will be arrested and you will go away. Otherwise, you get a lot more of it. Look, you know, Brett, I spent a lifetime in politics hearing people say that Republicans don't care about cities. They don't care about the people in the cities. They don't care about the poor, and they don't care about minorities. Today, we saw Republicans care about the poor, care about minorities, care about people in cities. And what did the Democrats do? They turned their back on those victims of crime. Good for the Republicans. I'm glad they held this hearing.
Bill, final word.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. The matter is the thrust of the hearing. What did we find out? And we heard those voices, and those voices will echo for a long time. And by the way, being in Washington, sometimes it's good to be on the ground. Find out what the heck is going on before you're making laws.
All right, panel, stand by if you would. Artificial intelligence. The people who are in the business say maybe we should push pause. Meantime, you have lawmakers now considering all kinds of possible regulation. The EU, according to Reuters, lawmakers there calling for a summit to control very powerful AI. The statement came weeks after Twitter owner Elon Musk and more than 1,000 technology figures demanded a 6-month pause in the development of systems more powerful than Microsoft-backed OpenAI's latest iteration of ChatGPT, which can mimic humans and create text and images based on prompts. We're back with the panel. Leslie, you know, listen, when the people who are in the middle of this say, we better hold on because it's going really, really fast, it does send up flares, doesn't it? Actually, we lost your audio there. Hold on. We're going to get your audio back. Bill, let me go to you. We'll try to reestablish the audio. You know, when the people that are working on this are saying, hold on, we should slow it down, it is quite something to hear.
Yeah, sure it is. Problem is the Chinese won't slow it down. They'll keep going. They'll build the AI as fast as they can build the coal plants. Seems to me there are two futures here, Brett. One is our generation will remember 2001 Space Odyssey. You're too young for it. But the commander says,
of course I did.
Open the pod, Hal. And Hal, the computer, says, I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. One of the most chilling lines in science fiction. So that's the life of its own. You know, you make this creature, it's Frankenstein or it's Hal, whatever. It's a life of its own that controls its own destiny and maybe our destiny. The other scenario is that government has a say in it. We've had this experience with Twitter and Facebook, and maybe AI becomes an instrument of people who want to engage in correct speech and see the world only one way and not allow for dissent. So, yes, study, attention must be paid. Absolutely. I will watch Elon Musk tonight in that interview with Tucker.
Yeah, it's one to watch, 8 p.m. We were rudely interrupted. Maybe it was AI, Leslie, that made your audio go away, but you were saying.
Maybe it was me.
It scares the living blankety blank out of me. Look, from that movie AI years ago. And this is why, when you have Democrats and Republicans agreeing that TikTok may be a national security issue, let's talk about bans limiting to an hour because of national security, and we're not concerned, or we say just Democrats are concerned about national security when it comes to AI. And then if we want to say this is censorship from the left, oh, come on. Drag shows, book bans, TikTok, the list goes on. To me, this isn't about censorship. I would agree with you, Brett, when the people who are putting this together are saying, let's pause. And it's not just Elon Musk. It's other people, Zuckerberg and others in Silicon Valley. We're going to have a part of this. So should not be political. This should be, again, about the safety of national security in this country and, of course, our kids.
Well, on the flip side, Ari, to Bill's point, China is not going to have a pause, probably. And you have the possibility that this could unlock all kinds of solutions. You know, maybe tell AI to solve climate change. Let's figure out how to change the world that way. But there are dangers here that lawmakers eventually have to figure out how to regulate.
Yeah, I'll see Bill Bennett's 2001 A Space Odyssey, and I'll raise him one War Games. That was the movie about two computers that wanted to fight a thermonuclear war. It does scare me, and it should scare everybody.
He's a young man.
The flip side of that is that nobody can stop technology. In the sweep of time, and the sweep of mankind, and the sweep of the millennia, technology will not stop. And so the right thing to do is have the right best minds in a free system, a tolerant system, a capitalist system, lead the way in doing this. We have internal checks and balances, and we have morality. And I don't think it can be stopped. So even a 6-month pause, I don't know what that means. Who's pausing? So there's tremendous upsides from this. But, you know, I look at it, Photoshop is to photos what AI is to language. They have downsides. They also have upsides.
Yeah. Well, panel, thank you very much. All I know is when I saw the Google folks say that they didn't know how Bard got to the solution they got to, I thought, wait, you don't know? So there's a lot of questions ahead on this issue, and we'll be talking about it again. Thanks a lot.